Dr. Charles C. Edwards and Dr. William D. Holden already have implicitly defined medical manpower as physicians. In the context of the distribution of physicians in specialties and of the time they spend in caring for patients, teaching, and research, I shall consider to what extent a medical school's faculty can be involved in the delivery of health care. The Flexner Report, like the Bible, is much talked about but little read. I had not read it before Dr. Harry M. Zimmerman asked me to appear on this panel, but when I did, I learned a good deal about the history of medical schools and education in the United States. In 1750, the first classes in medical education provided lectures in anatomy in Philadelphia. Several years later, our first medical school was formed as the College of Philadelphia, soon by merger to become the University of Pennsylvania's College of Medicine. Between 1768 and the end of the 18th century, 3 more medical schools were born. One, the progenitor of the Columbia University College of Physicians and Surgeons, was called King's College until a merger in 1814. The second was the Medical Department of Harvard College, and the third was Dartmouth Medical School. Then came the deluge. In the 19th century, at one time or another, there were 457 medical schools in this country, although Flexner pointed out that most of them were called schools by courtesy only. They were, by and large, institutions designed to make money for doctors, for people calling themselves doctors, for administrators, or for just plain sharpies. But in 1893, the Johns Hopkins Medical School became an institution of which Flexner could write as follows. This was the first medical school in America of genuine university type, with something approaching adequate endowment, well-equipped laboratories conducted by modern teachers devoting themselves unreservedly to medical investigation and instruction, with its own hospital in which the training of physicians and the healing of the sick harmoniously combined to the infinite advantage of both. By 1910, when the Flexner Report was published, there were 155 medical schools in the United States and Canada. Of those 155, only 16, including Johns Hopkins University Medical Department, Harvard Medical School, Western Reserve Medical Department, Rush Medical College, Cornell University Medical School, Wake Forest School of Medicine, and Yale University Medical Department required 2 or more years of college training for admission. Flexner drew 4 salient conclusions. 1, the business of the medical school is the making of doctors. Research is required of the medical faculty because only research will keep the teachers in condition. 2, a medical school is properly a university department. It is most favorably located in a large city where the problem of procuring clinical material, at once abundant and various, practically solves itself. It follows that in other respects, too, the clinical professors will be on the common university basis, salaried as other professors are. Of course, their salaries will be inadequate, i.e., less than they can earn outside. All academic salaries paid to the right men are. But there is no inherent reason why a professor of medicine should not make something of the financial sacrifice that the professor of physics makes. Both gives up something, less and less, let us hope, as time goes on, in order to teach and to investigate. The patient's welfare is ever the first consideration. We shall see that it is promoted, not prejudiced, by the right kind of teaching. Flexner expressed his hope that the best medical schools of 1910 would constitute models for great medical schools in the future. They were to have, at the very least, cadres of full-time faculty enjoying the privileges of teaching medical students, doing research, and providing excellent clinical care to a number of patients. The intervening 65 years since the publication of this report can be divided into 2 periods. From 1910 to the outbreak of World War I, medicine did not change explosively. There was, of course, a continual, gradual, but largely undramatic growth in the medical art and science. During these 30 years, there also was widespread public ignorance of the fact that the clinical care available in hospitals affiliated with medical schools often provided the best medical care available to the poor. In fact, it often was superior to the private care available to the rich. In the years following World War II came the well-known series of dramatic advances in research and their clinical applications. With them came a skyrocketing of costs. When I was an intern at the Peter Bent Brigham Hospital in Boston in 1944, a patient receiving ward care was billed, as I recall, $9 per day. At the Bronx Municipal Hospital Center in 1975, the daily cost of ward care was $205. As a result of these two developments, health insurance plans were born. Medicare, Medicaid, private insurance, and union health insurance. Together, these led to the gradual disappearance of the indigent patient. Obviously, we did not get rid of the poor in the United States, but fewer and fewer people had no means of paying for medical care. People who might not be able to afford bacon at the supermarket generally had the wherewithal, in one form or another, to pay for medical care.
Wherewithal is one word.
Yeah. And spelled with one L.